To say that I am living my ancestors' wildest dreams is an understatement.
Representative Nikema Williams' election win was marked by history. She became the first woman to represent Georgia's 5th District. Born in Columbus, Georgia, raised in Atlanta, Williams is an HBCU graduate. After graduating, Williams returned to Atlanta and joined the Young Democrats of Georgia. Not at all a stranger to politics, Williams was elected to the Georgia State Senate in 2017 and became the Democratic Party chair just 2 years later. Running for the seat her friend and mentor, civil rights legend John Lewis represented before his passing in 2020, Williams won in a landslide victory. We met with her at Black Lives Matter Plaza, the place where John Lewis had his last public appearance.
That was the first thing that I thought about when I realized this is where I was coming this morning. And just to know that this was where his last public appearance was, and he, till the end, was true to fighting for the people. So initially it was difficult to talk with media about it right after it happened. I'm like, y'all, I'm grieving. And so it was a process, but now being here in Congress and representing the 5th Congressional District, I understand everything that he has already laid the blueprint for. And it's frustrating that there are still things that he was fighting for 56 years ago, like the right to vote, and looking at what is happening back in Georgia right now around voter suppression, and yet we're still fighting for that right now. But he would always say that each generation has an obligation to move us one step closer to full equality. And so I have to pick up the baton and keep it going. So I grew up in rural Alabama in a home with no indoor plumbing and no running water.
Yeah.
And so I understand what it's like to live on the margins of society. And I'm also a Black woman named Nikema.
Yeah.
And my very first race, I had someone tell me that I should use Nikki on my yard signs and not Nikema, because I would get more votes. And so I fully understand that I'm operating in a system that was not designed by or for people who look like me, but I'm determined to make it work for people who look like me.
You're the chair of the Democratic Party in Georgia. Did you really see that coming?
We had been watching the trends in Georgia for cycle after cycle, and so this didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, right.
Voters, once they understood what happened in the November election, then voters were determined to claim their power.
How confident are you that Congress is going to be able to do something to make sure that people that look like you and me continue to have the right to vote?
They're passing bills like that would stop Sunday voting, that would change everything around the absentee voting process. And Republicans, some of them, have pushed back against some of the voting changes. And so I am convinced that there will be some fair-minded people here in Washington that will see that democracy supports both parties.
Democrats recently stripped your colleague from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, of her committee assignments for racist, xenophobic, some say just outrageous. You voted for it behavior from before she was in Congress. Do you worry at all about the impact of that? Because at some point, maybe not in 2022, maybe not in 2024, but at some point Democrats will be back in the minority. And these are things...
If there is a Democrat saying that there should be a bullet put through the head of the Speaker of the House, then they absolutely should be removed from their committee assignments.
Talk to me a little bit about what happened on January 6th.
January 6th was like the culmination of so many things for me, because it was our runoff election in Georgia. I remember thinking, well, once I get inside the building, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I just need to get on campus and I'll be fine. And that could not have been further from the truth. Seeing the Confederate flag paraded through the Capitol on the day that election results coming in for the first Black man representing Georgia in the United States Senate, and seeing that flag there was just this stark reminder as a Black woman growing up in the South of what I've always known this country to be, and the work that I still have to do.
If you had to look back on your first term, give me one thing that you want to be able to say you accomplished.
A national response to this pandemic. This pandemic has impacted the Black community so disproportionately. Black businesses have closed at alarming rates. Women have been removed from the workforce by no fault of their own. childcare. We have a care pandemic right now in this country. And so if I could get a national response to this pandemic so that our people are better off than they were before we went into this pandemic, then that will be success for me.